دەستەختان لێبێت عزیزان. هیوادارم کە زۆر باش بن. ئێوارەی هەموو شەوێک هەموو لایەک باش. خۆشحاڵم کە لە زنجیرەیەکی تری قاوەیەک و چارەسەر لەگەڵتانم. بابەتی ئەمڕۆمان کەمێک جیاوازە. ئەویش لەگەڵ خاتوو لۆرەیە لەسەر be a good public speaker. طبعا لايڤەکە بە ئینگلیزیە بێت چونکە خاتوو لۆرەی کوردی نازانێت. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for accepting this live. I'm sure that it will be very fruitful and it will be very informative. Thank you for giving me this chance to have a live with me regarding a solution and a cup of coffee. This is a series of lives with many people regarding different issues. And I asked you so you can give people bunch of benefits. The live will be in English for those people whom they are here. I know that maybe some of you, your English is not high, but I'm sure that Miss Lore will talk in not as a Canadian or a Native American English. Thank you so much, Lore, for accepting this. I will close the comments so everybody can pay attention to your words and what you are saying. Would that be fine with you?
That is absolutely wonderful. I was going to say the last 15 minutes can be a Q&A. So if you want to turn it on then, I'll do my very best to answer questions.
Cool. Everybody, we have a question mark at the bottom of the live. You can just ask me your questions, and the last 15 minutes I will ask Ms. Lore about your questions. And also I accumulated many questions from the others. So I'm going to close the commenting. Okay, thank you so much once again. And for those people, because I'm sure that those people that are in the live, it's the first time that they see you. Would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me today. It is an honor to be here. My name is Lorianne Jekyll. I'm from Canada, so greetings from Canada. I've been teaching public speaking for over 20 years. It is a passion of mine. We founded a company here in Canada called Stand Up and Speak, where our main goal is to help you love public speaking. As you know, public speaking is the #1 fear in the world. So if we can just change that, even just to make it #2, we would be so happy to do that. And of course, Irene, thank you so much. I've had the pleasure of knowing you now for just a little over a month. You inspire me every day to be better than what I am. So thank you for that.
That's so kind of you. I really appreciate. Though most of my posters they are in Kurdish, but after I met some new people, I decided to put some part of the posters into English. So, Ms. Lore, if I start with asking you that, telling you, what is the difference between talking with a friend and a public speaking?
Absolutely. So there are many facets to public speaking: communication, conversations, presentations, and of course, interviews. So the audience may change, but the spoken word will not. So Irene, if you and I were just having a conversation, it would probably be very pleasing and very comfortable going back and forth because we enjoy each other. But if you were to ask me to stand up on stage and talk to 1,000 people, all of a sudden I want to be politically correct in speaking, connecting with my audience. So there's a huge difference between conversations and speaking in public. You know, when you're speaking in public, all of a sudden you're being judged by a bigger audience, where if it's just you and I, it's just the two of us. Okay, so that's the main difference between speaking in front of a big group And of course, just one-on-one. Now, of course, when you're speaking in front of a large group, you have a lot of signs of nervousness. And when I say that, it's probably because there's hundreds of eyes on you. Now, doing this Instagram Live is a little bit not so scary, because all I'm doing is looking at Irene and myself. Even though I can see there's 50 people listening, I don't see you. So I feel pretty comfortable in my own skin right now. But of course, when you're live and you've got a lot of audience members looking at you, all of a sudden those fears of anxiousness and maybe being perfect will come into play.
Cool. What about shyness? You picked up a very good point, which is shyness. So usually in my society, as a Kurdish person, like in our culture, there is a great difference between shyness and afraid. Like people, they don't usually afraid, but they feel shy. So to be a good public speaker, do you think that we should overcome shyness first?
Yes, well, I'm a big believer that shyness is a choice. Okay, so if you are shy, you're choosing to do that for many different reasons. It might be because you just don't like the limelight being on you. It may be because you don't know what to say and you're worried about being judged or perceived as somebody that doesn't know something. So we all speak. We've all learned the ability to speak since we were 1.5 to 2 years of age, right? We learn to put sounds together to make words. What changes as we get older is that when we're in front of different people, we become scared. And the reason we become scared is because we worry about what we're saying or how we're being perceived. So you can tell me that you're shy, which just means that maybe you don't want to share your true thoughts, or maybe you don't like being in front of a bigger audience, right? That's what shy is.
What about if my gender makes me feel shy?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're looking at you yourself, I wouldn't say necessarily you're shy, you're afraid.
Oh, yeah.
And my question is, why are you afraid? Is it that you don't know the subject matter? Is it that you're afraid that I'm...
Sorry, I cannot hear you. Yeah, perfect.
I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. So regarding the shyness, well, you said that you have many years of experience in public speaking. What was the first thing you did when you started to speak in public? What was the first thing? Like, usually I have a pen. This is the source of my motivation and inspiration. I just open the cup and put it in the bag and then close the cup again.
Okay, so I'll tell you a little story about how I got started from a very young age, okay? So when I was in grade 2, I was afraid to speak because every time I spoke, everybody laughed at me, okay? And especially being in a classroom, it's because I spoke differently. So you may say the rabbit ran across the road. I would have said the rabbit ran across the road. Oh, okay. And kids laughed, okay? You know me as my first name as Lorianne, but I couldn't pronounce the letter L, so I would say my name is Wowianne. Oh. So my enunciation wasn't fully developed. I was going to a speech pathologist, and I was basically being told that if I didn't learn how to speak properly, then people would never understand. Now, back then, I was allowed to watch 2 TV shows. This was before Netflix, the computer, Instagram. And there were two shows that I watched, Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse. And it occurred to me that both of them were great characters, but Donald Duck spoke funnier than Mickey Mouse.
I see.
So my analogy was I was going to start to talk like a duck. And then that way, when people laughed at me, I was accepted. So I self-taught myself how to talk like Donald Duck. Do you know Donald Duck?
Yeah, the cartoon.
Yes, the cartoon.
Maybe the younger generation, they don't have it because they have Tom and Jerry. Donald
Yes,
Duck is something which is in my age. I used to watch it a lot. I loved it. It's a
yes,
kind, or the Ugly Duck.
yes.
Donald Duck and the Ugly Duck. Cool.
So
So,
if you're a Disney fan, okay, or go to Disney World, you know these main characters. So back then, I was smart enough to figure out that people were laughing at me and it made me feel terrible. So I wanted to do something where people would laugh at me and where I would feel okay. So one day the teacher asked me, who would like to come up in front of the class and count to 10? So I raised my hand and I thought, okay, this is a good example of me doing something out of my comfort zone. And I was waiting for everybody to laugh at me. And so I began. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I went on to 10. And when I stopped doing my Donald Duck impression, it was a miracle. Not one person laughed at me. They were like this. So I felt accepted for the first time in my life. But the greatest lesson I learned was this. People will laugh at you. People will laugh with you. You have to be strong enough to believe in yourself, in what you're saying. Because there will always be somebody judging you. There will always.
right.
Even if you're perfect, there's going to be one person that you're not going to please.
Wow.
So that's my empowering story of how the public speaking helped me at a very young age. And since then, I've always spoken. You know, my parents will always say, okay, Lorianne, I have a question, but give me the answer in 8 words or less.
Okay, that's cool. So
Yes.
I do believe that most of our, like those people who they are in the life, maybe some of them, they are females.
Yes.
And you know that we are living in the third world countries like Middle
Yes.
East. So you picked a very good point, which is comfort zone.
Yes.
How can we go out from that comfort zone? Because
Well,
as far as we don't go out, we will still be afraid of something. We create a jinn, or we create a ghost for us, which we believe always running after us.
Yep. And do you know why we do that?
Yeah.
We do
You
that.
can, yeah.
We create that environment because it makes us feel safe, that it's our choice not to do it. Okay. So we all have a voice. We all can speak. Necessarily, everybody's not going to like what we say, but we all have an opinion, right? So you and I could have a very healthy debate on a topic that we don't really see eye to eye on. It doesn't mean we don't like each other. It just means that we have an opinion. And sometimes we are afraid to speak up and say what we're truly feeling because we don't want to be judged. That's what it comes down to. So, I mean, if there's any females in the audience, listen, your voice is important and your voice should be heard. And if you don't speak up, then why speak? If you don't want your voice to be heard, right?
Yeah, female empowerment.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, that's a whole other topic. Irene, I could talk for hours on female
I would love
empowerment.
to. I would love to. I
would love
promise,
that.
I would love to. Really, I promised you to take 1 hour of your precious time. I know it's super early in Canada.
Yes.
Thank you for giving me this chance, but I would love to give me a bunch of ideas. Though
Yes.
I am a university instructor, I teach at university and I've been to many countries, but still, I'm a learner.
Yes.
Life,
and you know, one
yeah.
thing that you said, I know, you know, that we live in different countries.
Yeah.
And, you know, one thing that I'm a very big believer on is that we all speak the same global language. You want things in your life the same way that I do. And it's okay to be different. That's what makes us unique. And I think that's one of the reasons why you and I were drawn to each other. You love to teach, you're passionate about it, and so am I. So we find a common ground to talk about something that we're both passionate about.
Cool. So I have a passion to speak in public, but it's hidden somewhere.
Yes.
How can I find that passion?
Okay, so passion,
Yeah.
Passion. I'm going to give you a spelling test.
Thank you so much.
If you add the letter T after the letter I, okay, so add the letter T, what do you get?
Patient?
No, Passion.
Passion. Oh, well, I don't know.
Pass it on.
Oh, pass it on. Okay, it's the triple words.
It is. Okay, so
Okay.
if I'm passionate about public speaking, I'm okay to speak with you and pass on my love for the spoken word, right? What do you teach in university?
I teach English, like phonetics, phonology, syntax, semantics, different field of linguistics.
Perfect. And you chose that field because you were passionate about it.
Indeed.
Right. Now, what do you like to do in your spare time when you're not teaching?
Well, swimming, playing guitar, and reading, and beside drinking coffee.
Okay. Here, cheers to you, my dear friend.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, so you could probably inspire us about playing the guitar or picking up a book to read because you're passionate about it. So for all the viewers that are out there right now, you all have a passion, and they may not be the same as mine or Irene's, but you have a passion. So take that passion, okay, and find a way to share it with the world. Okay, if you're an entrepreneur, you may look at starting a business. If you like working with people, you might find a way to volunteer your time to make a difference. Okay, if you have a study or like playing a guitar or playing a sport, that becomes your passion in life. So find something that you're okay to talk about and make it work. And that brings me to the hardest form of public speaking, which is impromptu speaking. And impromptu speaking is speaking about a topic that you are not prepared to speak about. And this skill, I can tell you, is so important on making conversations with people that you don't know, on being interviewed, whether you're going for a job or you want to get into a good university, or maybe swaying somebody to your side, like in a debate. Okay, we're not always, like even today, Irene, you didn't send me a bunch of questions for me to study up on. You're just asking me, and I'm just speaking from my knowledge. And that is impromptu speaking. So if you want to learn any form of public speaking, I highly recommend impromptu. Okay, because that's going to help you on so many different levels of your life.
Actually, I didn't design any questions. I just derive out the questions from your speaking. You are such an inspired person, like making people to help them out. Dear Miss Laurie, I believe that, well, I don't know whether it's true or not, but I believe that somewhere hidden inside you, there is a chip which makes you to be a public speaker, but you need to trigger it. Like every person, do you believe that every person, they could be a public speaker?
Absolutely. This is a common question that's asked. Are public speakers born or are they made? I believe they are made. So public speaking is like a muscle. If you want to strengthen your muscle, you have to work out. Okay, work out. It's like a sport. Okay, if you like football, you're not going to go on the field and all of a sudden be a superstar if you have no experience and no training. You play the guitar. Okay, if you were to pick up the guitar for the first time, do you think you could play a beautiful melody? Absolutely not. Okay, you need to keep working at it. And you know what? Public speaking is no different. So we all can put words together. Words form sentences. Sentences form paragraphs. Paragraphs form our thoughts. And we all have that ability. But it's up to us to keep using that ability to make us stronger with the spoken word. So yes, in answer to your question, I believe that every person that's listening to us right now can become a beautiful public speaker. and they can become a master at it if that's what they put their mind to.
Cool. Sometimes students, when I ask them to present in front of the class, they don't break my heart, actually. They come to the front of the class. But because I'm also an IELTS mock examiner, I tested people in speaking tests. They are trembling, they are shaking, they are like as if they are sitting on a cube of ice. Why this happened, and how can we find a solution for this kind of problem?
Okay. So number one, public speaking, there are a lot of signs of nervousness that we have. So you're an IELTS instructor, you can pick up on that. I can pick up on that as well. And there are signs that people show us even before they open their mouth that they are nervous. Okay. So some of the big signs are hand clasping. Okay. Sometimes they're rocking or swaying just because they need that movement. Their eyes are not set on the person they're speaking to. They're looking everywhere else. The biggest thing is filler words. And a filler word is like or and we overuse it because we're trying to think about what we're going to say next. So if you look at the dynamics of speaking, you've got yourself who is a good speaker, but in your mind is telling you, you're not looking at the audience, you're fidgeting, you're saying too many filler words. That didn't make sense. You used the wrong word. And you've got all this stuff going on in your mind, but you're trying to come across as professional as you can. That's the difficulty in public speaking. We don't realize everything that's going on in here before we speak. Okay. And our mind, as you know, is a very powerful tool. So we need to start putting some positive thoughts, depositing them in here so that they come out through our heart. Okay. And that's where the passion comes from the spoken word.
So it's a dual work, like between emotion and logic.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is the combination of heart and brain.
Yes, because I mean, let's face it, I'm probably one of the most positive people you will ever meet. It takes a lot to get me down, but let's kind of look at a day where you're gloomy, you're down, and you have to go and speak in front of your class. Are you still going to have that upbeat, right? It's hard to do. It's like we're an actor or an actress. So you really want to be in the right frame of mind when you're speaking. And we can have little things that we do to get us comfortable. Like I always sing and dance, and that kind of loosens me up for whatever I'm going to do. You may have a cup of coffee and be deep in thought to get your words together. That's what makes us different, right? But as soon as the camera is on, you've got a purpose. In your case, as soon as you're in front of your students, they're going to be drawing from you. They're going to be picking up on your energy and your passion. And that's the secret to public speaking. If you are not passionate about it and you are nervous and you are scared, that's exactly what we're going to see. So you have to look at yourself and say, okay, what signs of nervousness do I have? And how can I eliminate them? And if you can't eliminate them, maybe you can hide them. Okay? And that's going to be a choice that you make. Make the right choice.
Well, I try my best, and I hope those people here, they try their best to give all their ears to you. Though their English is not, nobody's English is perfect because we are not native speakers like you, but we are trying our best to understand part of it, and then we will watch the live again to understand another part of it. I came to a point from your discussion. You talked about positivity and optimistic people. Maybe sometimes I ask you from the mouth of the other people, okay? It's not me, it's just transferring what other people told me. Yeah, so as a matter of fact, I am surrounded by many pessimist people and negativity, like full of negativity. Negativity is all around me. I'm waking up from the early morning.
Yes.
My teacher pushes me. My family, they push me. my work colleagues or workmates or whatever, everybody's pushing me. Everybody, they tell me, you cannot be a good public speaker. You cannot apply for any job. Look at you. You are 35 years and still you don't have a job. You didn't finish school, blah, blah. You are not married, whatsoever it is. Bunch of negativity. Mm-hmm. Do you think that these kind of people will affect me? And how can I deprive myself from them?
Okay. So I'm kind of fortunate in a way that I associate with a lot of positive people in my life. I'm a big believer that when you surround yourself with like-minded people, you'll accomplish a lot more. But I also know that there are a lot of people in my life that are, like you said, are pessimists, and they take extra energy. This is my thought on that. For you to be a pessimist or an optimist, it takes the same amount of energy.
Okay.
This is proven, okay? Optimists will live longer. Optimists seem to be happier. And you and I have a choice whether to be a pessimist or to be an optimist. And I will tell you this, that being a pessimist is like having 20 pounds of weight on your shoulders. Being an optimist is having that weight relieved, and it's freedom. So if anybody's out there right now second guessing yourself or saying, woe is me, I don't have an education, I don't have a job, I'm not married, it's, you know what I mean? Oh my goodness. Well, what is that going to do? Do you think that somebody magically is going to come up and lift that weight from you? No, it's because you're putting the weight there yourself. So do yourself a favor, remove the weight from your shoulders, and look at the glass as half full rather than half empty. Okay?
There is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, absolutely. There is always a light at the end of the tunnel, even if it's a little glimmer. Even we're living in a pandemic right now. And trust me, I want to go out. I want to have a life again. And if I just chose every day to be down and out, then those 24 hours in a day will feel a lot longer than they are. I want to talk about a smile. Okay, so psychologically, when you smile, you feel better. Okay? And we all have the ability to smile. And it's easy. And if you're in the audience right now and you're not smiling, force yourself to smile. Even if you have to get a pen and bite down on it. All of a sudden, endorphins are released in your body and they make you feel good. And even having that change of mind from being a pessimist to an optimist, if you do that a lot, then your body's going to start craving that optimism. Okay, and who creates that optimism? You, right? I can tell you right now, be optimist. Life is good. But you know what? If you don't believe it, it's a hard sell.
It all starts from inside.
Absolutely. Building that inner confidence in yourself. And you know what I find even with a lot of my students and executives that I work with, it's easier to put ourselves down than it is to build ourselves up. Okay, I'm going to say that again. It's easier to bring ourselves down than it is to build ourselves up. So if you have a choice of bringing yourself down or building yourself up, I want you to choose building upwards.
Cool. So, well, you answered almost all the questions. But sometimes it comes to mind that people will say that body language helps me. So to what extent body language can help you to be a good public speaker and to draw the other people's attention?
Perfect.
And eye contact, both of them, body language and eye contact.
Okay. So I'm glad that you mentioned that because that brings me into my Believe program. Okay. And I wrote this program over 20 years ago, and I have not changed one letter in the word believe. Okay. So believe, what does believe mean? It means to have that confidence, that trust in yourself or that trust in somebody else. You as a professor, you believe in your students. I know you can do this. And that belief probably means a lot to them. What I've done is I've taken the word believe and I've turned it into an acronym. Okay. So every letter in the word believe stands for an element that you can do in public speaking. So let's do that together. So the B stands for body language. So you hit the nail right on the head. I don't even know if you know my program. That was a great segue in. So body language is using hand gestures, but it's also facial expressions when you're talking. Okay? Yes, that smile, that upbeat energy. If you are speaking in front of a live audience, you may choose to walk into your audience, known as traveling. And we can walk to the left, to the right. That movement may make us feel more comfortable in stage. So body language will tell you a lot about a person. Now there's positive body language and there's negative body language. So there's some things that you really want to focus on. And then there's some things that you want to stay away from, like pointing at somebody or folding your arms when you're talking. It just makes it look like you're not interested. Okay, that's the body language. And by the way, I have a book out. I don't know if you know this or not, Irene, but it's based on the Believe program. And I think it's like 120 pages, and it goes through signs of nervousness, the Believe program. It breaks it down, even gives you interview questions and how you can improve yourself. And if anybody's interested in that, please send me an email, okay? And we'll get that book over to you. We'll give you a discounted, we'll give you Irene's discounted price on that book. We'll give you a half price deal.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, for sure. I will share it with my Instagram account. No problem.
Absolutely. And so the B is body language. The first E is eye contact. Establishing eye contact. Why do we do that? Because it shows we care about you, the audience. And the audience is going to be more engaged. Okay? The L stands for love what you do. When you are passionate about what you're speaking from, you're going to have that energy that people are going to feed off. And that's really important, especially if you're there to motivate or empower. There are some times when you don't want to be happy and upbeat, depending on the subject matter. Okay? So this body language, eye contact, love what you do. The I is a tricky one. It stands for inspire. It's up to you to find out, how are you going to inspire your students to learn? Or how am I going to inspire you today to become a better speaker? Okay, that's on you and I. The middle E stands for experience. That means the more you do something, the more comfortable you're going to feel. And I want you to remember about what we said earlier. It's like using that muscle, like learning another language, learning how to play a musical instrument or a sport. You have to keep doing it. It's that repetition that makes you comfortable. And that's where the experience comes in. The V is the greatest tool we have, and that is our voice. We want to make sure that we are not robotic. We're adding some enthusiasm into our voice, which means we may go high, we may go softer, we may speed it up, and we may slow it down. But it's up to you to control that voice when you're speaking. Okay? So that's the voice. And the last E is entertain. Everybody wants to be entertained to some little limit. Okay, find out what's going to be entertaining for you. So today, and I mean, you and I have been talking for the last 2 weeks about today. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to be engaging? I hope they understand me. I'm trying to slow it down. I'm trying to use that word believe, okay, so that you can believe in yourself. Okay, so believe is you having that inner trust of yourself. Body language, eye contact, love what you do, inspire, experience, voice, and entertain. Now, as a professor, if you were marking your students on that presentation, and this is very important, and I say this in the book, if every letter in the word believe was worth 11 points, okay? 7 times 11 is 77. 77% of your presentation will be on you, on what the audience sees. Okay. 23% is on the written component. So most students sit there and say, oh my goodness, I don't know what to write. You know, this is so hard. But really, 77% of your presentation is you. how you make me feel watching you.
Yeah, right.
And that is my belief program. And I tell you, you'll really enjoy reading it because you can take the tools and work it into your life.
I'm sure it will be so inspiring. And we will come to the Q&A later on because so many people asking about books. Well, that would be the first and the most recommended book to follow. It's indeed. What about if we speak in public and we make mistakes? How can we drive ourselves out? Because many people, they don't speak since they are afraid of making mistakes. It doesn't mean that they should do what? Then not speak for the rest of their lives?
Perfect.
We are fallible. Yeah.
Listen, if we don't make mistakes, we don't learn. Okay? And I'm going to give you another acronym. And you know, I love acronyms, okay? I have so many to share. I want you to take a look at the word fail. FAIL. What does it stand for? It stands for first attempt in learning. So my dear friends, if you fail, you're going to get right back up and you're going to try it again. And this is the best analogy I can say. When we were all learning how to walk, I'm sure you asked your parents, we were crawling. We kept lifting ourselves up on furniture. We kept falling. We didn't sit there and cry our eyes out and wait to be picked up. We kept doing it again until we got it right. Okay? So public speaking is the same thing. You will have to continuously keep doing things and learning from yourself. Here's another acronym for you. FEAR. FEAR. This is your choice.
Did you just come up with these acronyms?
No, this is all part of my training.
Cool. Because I'm just writing every single of them down.
Do you know why I love acronyms? Because it's a reminder. Sometimes we need to remind ourselves, right? Yeah. So let's look at the word fear. So fear, as we all know, is something that we're afraid about. Fear, FEAR, stands for forget everything and run. And that's what happens to a lot of us when we're up on stage and we have everybody staring at us and we are in tons of signs of nervousness. We just want to leave that stage, forget it, and get out of there. I want you to use this word, fear, okay? Face everything and rise. Same letters, but guess what? It's your choice. So the pessimist will choose to forget everything and run. But you and I will choose face everything and rise. And I hope everybody that's watching us, your choice is to choose the latter.
Second one.
Because it's up to you. All right? And remember, at the end of the day, it's your choice. I can't choose for you. Although if Irene and I were to choose, we want only greatness for you. We're going to choose you. Say, go ahead, choose the second one. But you know what? I'm not perfect. I'll tell you this right now. I've been doing this for 20 years. There's a book out right now that says if you want to become a master in something, you have to do something for 10,000 hours. So my question for you is, how many hours have you stood in front of a group and spoken? And some of you might say, well, I did 5 minutes last year. I did maybe 30 minutes last course I did. If you're not even close to 1,000 hours, then guess what? You're learning. And your signs of nervousness may still exist. But the more you do it, the better you become. And I'm going to use you, Irene, and playing the guitar. My husband plays the guitar as well. And I remember when he first learned it, it just sounded like a bunch of disconnected notes.
Actually, when I first started to play it, I went to the outside of the district.
Okay.
Because I was so sure they will call 911.
So, and I sat there listening. But guess what? The passion was in keep doing it, right? So now he plays beautiful songs and I actually can recognize them. So, but it takes time, okay? And public speaking takes time. But the good thing is we can choose the time to put into it. We all have the same 24 hours in a day.
Yeah, indeed.
And I'm very big on this. A lot of people will say, how come you're better speaking than I am? Okay. Well, I say, I make the time to speak. Do you make the time to sleep? Right?
Oh,
So you
good
have to
one.
look at it. 8 hours of the day, you're sleeping on a good day. I might only need 6 hours, which means those extra 2 hours that you're sleeping, I'm
Practice.
speaking.
Yeah.
Right?
Practice
So
makes better.
practice,
Always.
yeah. I'm not a big fan on saying the word perfect or perfection. I don't believe in perfection. I believe that you can be perfect for yourself and I can be perfect for me.
Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I just wonder if speaking in front of a mirror can help people out.
That's a good question. But you know what I find? We do not like looking at ourselves.
Well, close your eyes. I fold it.
Well, I like looking at you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That's so sweet and kind of you, indeed. But I mean,
But
putting the
you know,
blindfolded stuff.
well, I'll tell you one thing. You know what's funny is I'll say to a lot of my students, I want you to videotape your performance and send it to me, right? Or I want you to videotape it and I want you to evaluate yourself. And everybody tell, even if they're adults, it doesn't matter if they're just university students. They'll say, oh my gosh, I hate looking at myself. Well, you know what? What you see in the mirror is what we see. And we can be judgmental. I mean, I can say to you, oh my gosh, my hair is a mess.
Yeah, indeed.
I need my hair done. But you know what? If you're okay in your skin, if you believe in who you are, then everything else, it doesn't matter. Right? And I think that that's the secret is we have to say to ourselves, I'm valuable the way I am. And you know what? I'm not perfect. I'll be the first person to tell you that. And I will make mistakes. But guess what? I'm going to choose to learn from my mistakes.
Good one. Looking inside to out rather than outside to in.
Absolutely.
I asked my students in the beginning of the pandemic, I asked them to record a presentation. And most of my, the female students, the girls, yep. They tried to make themselves beautiful and they cared about their face for 3 hours. However, they studied for the presentation for half an hour. And when they came to the class, I said, you look super beautiful, but your presentation is way behind. Way behind.
Well, I'll tell you, I was young once too. So I know that looking good, you listen, if we look good, it kind of puts us in that positive mind thought that, okay, if I'm looking good, maybe I can sound a little bit better. But you know what? If you believe in yourself, I mean, when I go on stage, I have makeup on, I put eyelashes on, I have my hair, I'm dressed, and I psychologically, I feel good. I may not sound great to everybody, but if I'm okay with myself, then I'm okay. And I think that once you and I realize that you are valuable for who you are, yeah. I'm valuable for who I am, regardless of our successes in life, then we're always going to have a connection with one another.
Cool. So my last question, and then I will move to the okay. Audience's question. If we failed 2 or 3 times or more than 10 times, should we give up on public speaking because we are not made for that?
Perfect. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You have a pencil with an eraser on the bottom of it, right?
Yeah.
If you make a mistake, what do?
Erase it, indeed.
You erase it and you rewrite it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And you keep doing it until that eraser runs out. And when that eraser runs out, you get yourself another pencil. So sure. If you keep failing, you're going to erase what you did and you're going to make it better. And that is called growing. And, you know, I'm a big believer that if you're not learning something every day, and listen, I'm in my 50s, okay? And I learn something every day. I learned from my students. Trust me, I didn't even know how to do Instagram Live 2 weeks ago. And here I am. And you know what? I may not be doing this perfect. I may be too close. I may be speaking too fast. But you know what? I'm a learner. And I'll look back at this video as well and say, oh my gosh, why did I say that? Or how did I look? We are our own worst critic. Okay. So look at the big picture and say to
Yeah.
yourself, what's the value I added today? And if you failed at something and you learned from it, pick up that pencil with the eraser, find a way to, erase it out and find a way to do it better. And guess what? That's what life is all about. That's success.
Giving value to every bit of your day.
Yep.
Cool. I will not take further of your time because I know that I promised you for 1 hour. So I keep watching my time too, because I read it like one of the best points of be a good public speaker and presenter is to stick to the time rather than going before and pro of the time. So don't worry, I will finish it before the time. Not before the time, but exactly. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Well, I do believe that we have some questions like one of the people asked me, please, Miss Lori, can you tell us about some common books to read about public speaking? With thanks.
Okay, absolutely. So there's a lot of books. Dale Carnegie, he has numerous books that are out on public speaking. That would probably be the first one that I recommend. I actually have a list that I send to my students. So if you want to send me an email, like write to me at la@standupandspeak.com and I can send you that list. I think there's 7 books that I've recommended over the years. And each one they focus on one area of speaking, okay, and connecting. And when I say public speaking, I just want to throw that listening is also very important when you're learning public speaking, even if that means videotaping yourself and watching it back and listening. Okay, but send me an email and I'll give you that whole list. But Dale Carnegie books are very good.
Thank you so much. What is the difference between between teaching English and be a good public speaker? I think that she means that to be a teacher and a public speaker.
Yes. So, I mean, teachers in public speaking have one thing in common, and that's passion. And as you know, Irene, we were on Clubhouse together, and I like to speak on Clubhouse because I like to say that I'm helping somebody learning English. But learning English and speaking English go hand in hand. So on a place where, let's say you're on a podcast and you're just listening, you can learn new vocabulary. You can learn sentence structure. Public speaking is more about making a connection with someone, right? Rather, it's still using the spoken word, but it's that connection. And remember, the word public means that you are in view. Okay, so that's the difference. But could a teacher become a great public speaker? Yeah. Absolutely. Could a public speaker be a great teacher? I'm told, yes, that is possible because my students tell me that. And remember, even though I'm a public speaker, I teach public speaking, but my first love was writing and speaking and not teaching. So you can learn that as you go along.
Cool. What about, can you, because one of the females asked me whether, is there a way to overcome fear? Absolutely. Because you talked about shy.
Yes, there is
for
a
that
way.
Female, please look back to the live. Miss Lori talked about shy, but I will ask you the fear one.
Right. So remember, fear is a choice. And I know it may not seem like a choice right now because you're afraid. And we spoke about this earlier, that there's so much going on in your body when you're speaking. You're trying to add in body language. You're trying to have good eye contact. Your brain is trying to tell you words to say. And then, of course, there's that little voice in the back of your head saying, you're no good. And all of this is going on at the same time. So to get over that fear, I want you to start telling yourself positive things that you're good at. And you're all good at something. And if you're not good at something, send me an email and I will tell you what you're good at. Okay? We are all good at something. Even if you just say, I'm not a good speaker, but I'm a good listener. then you know what? Build on your listenability. Find a topic that you're passionate about talking about and start recording yourself. That's the best way to get over that fear. Remember, you have to do. That's your choice, right? The word I can or I can't is only an apostrophe and a T.
Yeah.
Get rid of it and you can. And you will do great things once you master that. I promise you.
Well, I'm sure that after this live, people will go outside the neighborhood and they start to shout out because even it's late here.
Don't do it
when
past
people,
10 o'clock.
yes, when they say, why you did that? Say, I watched the live and they told me to not be afraid, go out, shout out loud. Miss Lori, would you mind if you send me your email into my, just message me?
Yes.
Would it be fine if I post it under this live video?
Absolutely.
Yes,
yeah. Absolutely.
Cool.
And anybody can write me, send me an email. You can check out our website as well, standupandspeak.com. If you're interested in any advice, let me know, or even the Believe book, or even if you want to brush up on some other books, I'll be glad to give you that recommendation.
Well, that would be very kind of you. And for those who they are watching now and they will watch later, I will attach the email of Miss Lori with under the video with the caption of the video. One of Miss Cheeman, she's a motivational speaker. Actually, she said that true positivity is to accept the negative side in our inner world that will allow us to deal in a healthy way with the negativity of outside. Yeah.
I love that thought. And I mean, if you have a choice to be negative or positive, you're going to probably see a lot better, more smiles, more happiness from choosing positive. Remember, we talked earlier about a pessimist and an optimist. If you look at optimism, okay, optimism is contagious. But guess what? So is pessimism. So the first three letters in optimism, OPT, is opt, which means to choose. So you have a choice. If you're going to choose negative or positive, it's going to take the same amount of energy. But if I could tell you, if you had a choice, choose positivity.
Well, indeed. And it's any power which starts from the inner, no outside power can decay it or destroy it.
Yes.
Well, I do believe that there is no more questions for you, Miss Lori. You answered, there are a bunch of questions, but actually you answered all of them during the live. So I will not make you to repeat the same answers again and again. Those people can watch back the live because I will post it on my Instagram after this live.
Okay.
Just if you can tell us your last word or your last message, because this is a series of lives, which I named it a coffee and solution. I love solutions. I find solutions even from problems, not like other people, they find problems from solutions. And I adore coffee. When I drink coffee, I do believe that I can solve every kind of problems. So what is your message for those people whom they want to be a good public speaker, whom they feel shy, they feel worried, afraid, they keep put the blames on their family, background, society, culture, whatsoever, because many people, they cannot do something and then they keep blaming.
Yep.
Or I call them nagging.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm going to use another word, okay? Impossible. A lot of people will say it's impossible to learn. It's impossible to become better, or it's impossible to be as good as you. I want you to take an apostrophe and add it after the letter I in the word impossible. And now you get I'm possible. And when you start telling yourself that whatever you put your mind to, you can do, you will start believing in yourself. We are all possible. I'll tell you, I had a manager many years ago where I went into the office and I said, I have a problem. And they stopped me in my tracks and said, no, Lorianne, you do not have a problem. You have an opportunity to find a solution. Okay? You have an opportunity to find a solution. You and I have the same opportunity. Okay? So if I was to leave you with any words, I want you to know that you are possible and you are valuable, but you have to believe it. We can't tell you that. You have to feel it from inside. And once you can believe in yourself, guess what? The world opens up for you. Whatever your desires, you will achieve. I'm not saying it's not going to take hard work. It will take hard work. Okay? Achieving any dream is going to take hard work. But believe in yourself and know that you are worthy and you are valuable. And Irene, I'm going to ask you a question. Yeah. Okay? And I always ask this in any of my lessons that I do. You and I have spent almost an hour together. Okay? What do you take away from our hour? What is the one or two things that resonate with you? Or maybe you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to apply that. I'm asking you, what do you take away?
Never give up.
There you go. Never give up.
And I do believe that you should try.
Yep.
The harder you try, the better product you can collect.
Yep. And you know what? It's a lot easier to give up than it is to roll up your sleeves and keep going. And I'll end you with one more of my favorite passages. Okay? Winners never quit.
Cool.
And quitters never win.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you have a choice, be a winner. Because you are.
Every people, they have a choice, actually.
Yes.
Everyone. It's all about seizing.
Yes.
Opportunity knocks.
Yes.
The best of us will open the door.
And guess what? This is an opportunity for you and me today.
Yeah, indeed. However, some people, they got benefit, and some others, they lost that chance to be a good public speaker, actually, because you have almost an experience as much as, like, more than most of the people I have met during my lifetime.
Mm-hmm. But I've been doing it a long time.
I really don't have a word to thank you enough and to appreciate for giving me this fruitful hour and to give it to the audience. I know you are quite busy with classes, with students. It's pretty early in Canada, but thank you so much, Lori. I really do appreciate, and thanks for giving us this valuable information. We will all pray for you for a better life, for a healthier life, for a more successful life, and hope to see you at the peak of the mountain, at the top of it. And I wish that one day I will come to visit you face to face or in person to be one of your students. I cannot imagine how amazing it will be, really.
Well, I will promise you this, my dear friend. When we get to that top of mountain, I promise I will talk your ear off.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you gave me all this lovely time. I really thank you. With that, even with the name of the audiences, I really thank you, and we all thank you for giving us this opportunity. Really, we do appreciate.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed being here, and I'll tell you, people in life meet for many different reasons, and you and I met for a great reason. So, thank you.
Pleasure all mine, and thanks to you and to your kind words and to your informative lecture. I call this a lecture. Really, this is a lecture for me. It's a once lifetime lecture that I learned a lot. Thank you so much, Miss Lori, and wish you a very pleasant afternoon in Canada, and enjoy the rest of your week and a very pleasant weekends.
Thank you so much. Much love to everybody. See you soon.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a very great afternoon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, thank you. You can just close it. It's on your, it's on your right. Can you see it across?
Yeah, I'm looking at how to close this right now.
Just close it. Just press the close and it will be closed. I think it's closed. If I'm not yet, but
yeah,
but
hang on 1 second.
maybe you rejoined it. Just
Okay, 1 second. I'm just trying to figure out how to close this.
Yeah, just press the close of it and then.
I don't always. All I see is an X. Let's hope this works.
Cool. زۆر سپاس عزیزان بۆ مانەوە